Hi guys, Lewis here, and in this video we're going to recreate Trello with Elementor. Now if I take you through this page, this is Trello's homepage, and as you can see, it's made up of different sections, different colors, it's got some nice graphics in there, and really this is a perfect example of a page that we should in theory be able to recreate with Elementor. So I'm going to head over to the page that I've set up now, and this is essentially a blank page which you can get by going to page settings and setting the template to Elementor canvas. Now I've also done a few other things to speed this up. The first is global colors. I've just set these to be more aligned with the Trello homepage. I've also done global fonts, which I don't have the exact font that Trello is using, but Roboto is close enough, so that's what I've gone with. And the color picker, I've already set my colors so that I don't have to mess around trying to find the hex codes for the home page. So that's all I've done really for the setup. So I'm going to go ahead and build this. I'll speed up the video when I have nothing to say, and obviously I'll slow it down when I feel like there's something you need to know. Okay, so I'm struggling to get these buttons to sit nicely in the corner. If I don't use columns, there's no way to actually get them side by side without meddling with custom CSS. And since this is a page builder, I'm not going to be going into the CSS. I feel like that defeats the purpose of using a page builder. So at the moment, this is the best I can get. I may go back to this at the end, but we'll see how I get on. Okay, so we've got an image here that's wider than the text above it, and because I've set a content width, I'm going to have to create a new section here. Now there may be a better way to do this, but as far as I know, this is the only way to make it happen. So I'm going to duplicate this section. I'm going to remove the text element, and I'm going to increase the width of that section. Okay, so see how this actually lays on top of the last section. So I need to bring this section up and have it lay on top of this image behind it. So I'm gonna give that a go. If I go to section, advanced, and I give it a negative top margin, what you'll notice here is that the section actually goes behind the image while the text lays on top of it. Now I've played with this a lot, and without using custom CSS again, I wasn't able to make that happen. So in this case, I'm just going to have to leave it below, which is unfortunate. I just want to point out this little glitch as well. It keeps happening. You just have to drag it in the right place in order to get it in, but sometimes it just freaks out. Quite annoying. Hopefully they can fix that. So again, I'm trying to make the text slightly narrower than the image, and to do that I would need to create two sections, but this actually has a gradient, so it does get a bit more complicated. So in this case I'm not going to do it just because it's way more effort than it's worth. I'm sure it would be doable, but I really wish there was a way to shrink, to narrow the width of some content within a section without affecting other content. Okay, so I need to get this image to the bottom of this section, and one way I know to do that is to go to the section settings and content position bottom. Now this puts everything to the bottom, so I need to figure out a way to raise this up a bit. Okay, so here we have two buttons that need to be aligned side by side, as you can see here. And the problem that I'm facing is where I used columns up here, I can't actually do that down here because this is already in its own column. I'm not sure, maybe there's a way, maybe I'm missing something here, but at the moment I can't see how I would do that without using custom CSS. So that's a bit of a problem. I'm going to have to leave that as is. So I cheated a bit here because these images are actually individual images. I could take the time to create columns for these, and I'm sure that's doable, but for this case I think it works, and I'd probably do it like this anyway just to save time, but there you go. Okay, so that's basically it. I've got everything in place. Now there's definitely some tweaks that need to be made, and I'm going to go in and do some of those now. So for example, one here, we've got this image actually goes off to the side of the screen, and it also has a slight drop shadow here, so I'm going to experiment with that now. Okay, so I've managed to use a negative margin to pull it that way, but the more I do that, the bigger the image gets. So I don't know what's going on. I'm not quite understanding why that's happening, but I can't get it too far off the screen without also changing the height of the image as well. So I mean, it's close enough. It's not perfect, it's close enough. It also has the box shadow here, which was easy enough to implement. One other thing I noticed is that these images are not touching the bottom for some reason. So if I go in, I'm sure it's just a case of setting a -10 margin like that, and I can do that for all of these images. Another thing was the buttons. Now my buttons don't look exactly like the Trello buttons. They're a little small. They also need a very subtle box shadow, and of course I can go in and do that. I've also missed this, so I'll just put that in quickly. Okay, so a problem I'm seeing here is with the color of this link. I can't seem to change it so that it matches this. I'm not sure why. I've tried to look through the settings, but that's just the way it is. I'm sure it's inherited from the theme CSS. This is something you're probably going to have to go in and change among other things here. So, I mean, overall, it's, like I said, it's not perfect. There are some things that need tweaking, and I'm sure Elementor can do those, but there are other things that I've tried and I just cannot make them happen without going into the custom CSS. So just to give you one final side-by-side comparison, this is the original and this is my recreation. So I'll do a full write-up of this below and list out the things that I had trouble with and things that I thought Elementor handled really, really well. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.